type in the chat. Otherwise, we will just move along and hopefully you enjoy. All right. So there we go. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, my name is Pam. If you don't have blocks, you can use books. You can use a bottle of vinegar, Javex, whatever you have lying around. If you don't have a yoga strap, you can use a tie or a Dynaband or any kind of cloth belt if you need a belt. If you don't have a zafu, you can use pillows or blankets. Same with a bolster. If you don't have that, you can also use pillows or blankets. And these props are just to help you be more comfortable in the poses as we move along. So we'll get started as usual, lying back. If you have, if you'd like, you can always sit with me. Otherwise, you can lie back on your mat. You can also always place a bolster or pillows or blankets under your knees to support you, or you can let your knees rest together and your feet apart. With your palms face up, that just helps your shoulders relax a little bit more. Now, personally, I prefer to rest my head right on the mat, but if you have a blanket under your head or a pillow under your head because that's more comfortable for your neck, you can also do so. Or if you prefer, you can start your meditation or relaxation with me by sitting in a comfortable position, preferably on some kind of prop or perhaps resting against the wall, just to keep your shoulders open, your chest open, and keep your spine nice and tall. If you're wearing glasses, you may wish to remove them and just place them safely to the side or on your belly if that makes you more comfortable if you're lying on your back. In your time, closing your eyes or allowing your gaze to be soft and just coming into your breath. Inhaling to expand your belly towards the sky or into the room. Exhaling to bring your belly back towards your spine, back towards the earth. And taking a moment here to prepare yourself for your practice. Again, without judgment, just noticing how you're feeling. Maybe you rushed to the mat today. Your breath is a little bit fast. Maybe you have the time or you gave yourself permission for the time to lie back before you even joined us today. You're feeling a little bit more relaxed and calm. Again, there's no judgment here. So just notice how you're feeling. Perhaps inviting a deeper breath. Inhaling in through your nose. And sighing a couple of exhalations out through your mouth and maybe even making noise. So taking a nice deep breath on your inhale the next time around. Having a big sigh. Let it all go. Taking a breath in through the nose and sighing it out, making that noise. Letting it go. Just being with this breath in this moment. Let there be nothing else. There's nothing to do here. Just rest and breathe. If your mind wanders, that's okay. Just bring it back to your breath. Part of the challenge that many people find with relaxation pose or meditation is that they think that they need to absolutely turn all their thoughts off completely and not have any.
And that can be very challenging, maybe impossible, because we're usually always thinking about something. So rather than placing judgment on ourselves for these thoughts that come up, maybe even try to think of them as we would a difficult emotion, like a wave. So they come in and they come out. So the thought arises, and you notice it, and you do nothing, and you let it go. Just like the emotion comes up and it rises, and it may feel overwhelming, just like a giant wave, but eventually that wave will go back out. Eventually the feeling will subside. So trying to view our thoughts and emotions in a similar way, letting them come up, noticing that they're there, and just waiting until maybe you can let them go, if only for a moment. And though this is challenging, the more we can be mindful about what's happening in our minds, in our hearts, the more we can notice and just let it be what's there, the more we can connect and be more mindful with ourselves and with others. Taking a few more moments to just rest, to breathe, to try to invite relaxation into the body, to invite a sense of letting go in any area where you're holding tension. And if the sighing out breath helps you to do so, please continue with it for a few more moments. Otherwise, perhaps just feeling your breath in your belly, feeling your belly rise as you inhale, and feeling your belly fall back as you exhale. In your time, eventually, gently and slowly, begin to bring your awareness back into the room. Maybe wiggling your fingers and your toes, stretching or moving in any way that feels good for you. Before we begin our practice, perhaps just sitting for a moment longer, whether we're seated or on our backs with our eyes closed, and setting an intention for our practice. And if it resonates with you, perhaps for today, thinking about when things come up in practice today, can you treat them like a wave? Can you notice, the thought that comes up in your brain or the emotion that rises in your chest? Can you notice, do nothing, and let it go? And if that doesn't resonate with you, perhaps it's what you can be grateful for today, or what you can be grateful for in your practice, or where can you deepen your breath, or where can you find ease in your body? Whatever resonates with you best for today. But perhaps it's notice, do nothing, let go. So if you're lying on your back, coming to a few warm-ups. And if you were seated with me, perhaps just coming back down onto the mat for a moment, just to wake up the body a little bit before we ask it to move. Maybe bringing your belt with you today, or having your belt handy. So from here, we'll start by exhaling again. Listen to your back. If your back is tired or sore, perhaps working with one leg at a time. Otherwise, if it works for you, exhaling both knees toward your chest, and circling into your ankles and into your wrists a couple of times in each direction, making sure that we're warming up the body. Perhaps, even if you've done ankle circles with both legs, perhaps just doing hip circles with one leg at a time. So the knee is bent,
and the foot is resting down as you draw circles on the ceiling with your knee in one direction, and then eventually in the other direction. Getting that synovial fluid moving in the hip. Try not to rock and roll everywhere, trying to isolate the movement in the hip. Just waking up the body slowly. Perhaps you've been seated for most of the day already or in one position for a long time. Just being gentle with yourself. Just slowly waking that body up. Work in one direction and the other, work on one side and then the other. And eventually come back to center, placing both feet on the mat. Exhaling your arms towards the ceiling, placing your hands on your elbows. And just a couple of circles on the ceiling in one direction. And then the other. And then eventually let that go, shake that out. And we're going to take our belt here if we need it. So if it helps you, you can always hold on to the belt instead. But otherwise, I want you to pretend that you're holding a giant beach ball. And as you exhale your belly back, you're going to let your arms float back behind you and bring them as wide as they need to for them to come to the mat, or a prop behind you. So if this is really uncomfortable, you can always bring a pillow, a blanket, or a couple of pillows and blankets behind you just to give yourself a closer floor. And that will help you to open the chest very subtly, but also protect your shoulders. On an exhalation of your belly back, allowing the arms to come back towards center. So if you prefer, again, you can hold on to the belt to do this. Just making sure that the elbows are not locked. Okay? Pay attention to your shoulders. So that's not really comfortable for my shoulders, but if I make my beach ball, that way I'm rolling my shoulder blades down my back. And I'm just opening gently, letting the fingertips come to the mat. And slowly coming back. Eventually going to let that go and shake that out. And then we'll come to leg stretches. So when we come to leg stretches, we want to be somewhere in between being pointed and being flexed. And I'm not tugging or pulling on the belt. The dead weight of my arms is holding up the belt. So I might want to flex the foot and then point the foot fully and then find kind of that in-between point. In between being pointed and flexed. Now, if your hamstrings are really tight, you're going to have a super bent knee here, and that's okay. And you might already feel quite a stretch. So listen to your body. Again, dead weight of your arms is holding up your leg, not pulling or tugging on the belt. If this is enough of a stretch, stay here. If you wish, you can deepen the stretch by exhaling and lengthening your down leg along the mat. Continue to roll your shoulder blades down your back. Finding your breath. Again, maybe testing that between point and flexed space out to see if you can find that in-between point. And perhaps this is enough of a stretch and you pause here. If your leg is able to let go further, do so only with an exhalation of your belly back and let the leg tip a little bit towards you, but without tugging or pulling on the belt. So all I did was see if my leg would move towards my nose. I didn't actually pull with my arms. So breathing here, and then eventually bending the down leg if it's not bent already, letting that go, shaking that out, and switching legs. So again, finding the place between pointed and flexed. And one side may be more flexible than the other. So listen to your body. Again, you may be having a super, super bent knee. The main thing here is you want your leg right in your hip socket. And if you don't feel a stretch there, you can exhale and lengthen your down leg along the mat as if it were standing up. And if the leg lets go in the hip without pulling or tugging on the belt, you can let the leg tip a little bit towards your nose. Still, there's your breath. Eventually bending the down leg again if it's not bent already, letting that go and shaking that out. We're going to come back to the first side, but we're going to open up the hips a little bit more. So from here, I'm actually going to switch the belt just to one hand. Now, nothing changed. I'm not pulling or tugging on the belt. I'm just letting my arm rest in my shoulder socket. I'm going to keep my down leg bent, and I'm going to let my leg tip a little bit towards me and then out to the side to come into a more of an inner thigh stretch. Okay. Try to keep this leg facing the ceiling, but if you need to counterweight and you feel like you really need to tip that leg out, you can. Because what you don't want to have happen in this particular pose, I don't want to see you coming off the mat. I want your back down. So your hips should be on the mat here. Breathing here. And you may not come very far. Listen to your body. Keep the shoulder blades rolling down the back. And don't stay too long. Eventually bend and come back to center. And then we'll tip a little bit towards the nose again and across the body the other way. Just breathing there. Now in this case, if your back is feeling okay and you really feel comfortable coming into a twist, you can lengthen your down leg along the mat and then begin to tip to the left. I'm running into my wall here, but that's actually good for me because I don't want to come all the way down. However, if it's comfortable for your back, you can come all the way down. If you need to back off a bit, you can always keep the down leg bent. Listen to your body here. So this can be quite a twist for some people. So listen, and maybe you've stayed and you're not actually going into the twist. So just see how it feels. If it doesn't feel great, come out. Listen to your body. Still, there's your breath. So I know when I say notice and do nothing, that doesn't count when it comes to pain because there's no pain in yoga. Eventually come back to center if you haven't already. Let that go, shake that out. And we'll come to the other side. So again, just one hand hold the belt, tipping that leg a little bit towards you and then out to the side. And for me, this side is much tighter, so I have to back off quite a bit. So again, listen to your body. If you need that counterweight, you can let the other leg fall out. But it's still active. I know it always sounds strange, but in yoga, we're usually doing things that are active relaxation, which sounds silly, but that's kind of what it is. Because you're kind of trying to relax into a pose, but at the same time, you're active in the pose. You're not just falling asleep in the pose. When it's enough, you can bend your knee, slowly bring everything back to center. Switching hands, tip the leg a little bit towards you and then over to the side. And again, maybe this is where you stay. If you feel comfortable and you'd like to try to lengthen the leg and come into a twist, you can. Maybe that leg comes all the way to the floor. Maybe it doesn't. Try not to hang out too much in space. Have that leg supported by your arm. Or perhaps a prop underneath you, like I have a wall on the other side, or maybe just don't stay. Just coming across the body with your back flat on the mat. Listen to what it's saying and proceed accordingly. Still, there's your breath. We'll eventually come back to center. And let that go, shake that out, and place your belt to the side. From here, exhale your right knee towards your chest, holding underneath your knee or on top of your shin. And if it's comfortable, lengthen that down leg, the left leg, all along the mat, and your down leg is standing up. Your up leg is in between being pointed and flexed. And as you inhale, the leg gets a little bit further away as your belly rises with your breath. And as you exhale, your belly gets smaller so your leg can come a little bit towards you. And this can be a really nice, more gentle way to stretch the hamstrings as well as the low back, which can get really tight if we sit a lot. Or the hamstrings might be tight if we run or do a lot of working out where we do a lot of leg work. Take one more nice inhale and one more nice exhale here. And on your exhale, both knees come into the chest and then switch. So again, that down leg is as if it were standing up. And I'm inhaling to let that leg come a little bit away, exhaling it to bring it towards my body. So I make room as I breathe in, and I exhale to come out. A couple more breaths there. Inhale to come, let the belly get big. Exhale, belly gets small. Last one there. Both knees into the chest at the end of the exhale. And rock from side to side, head, neck, shoulders. Everything comes with you. Give your spine a nice massage. If you're feeling like you want a more active practice and you feel warm, if you want to do a roll up, like roll all the way to sitting, you can. Otherwise, roll to your right side for a breath or two. And then use your arms to help you up. From here, we're going to come to all fours in our table position. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Again, if you need to prop underneath your knees, I have a double mat, so I'm usually okay. But if you need to prop under your knees, please do so. So everything in line here, shoulder blades roll down my back, and we're going to do cat, cow, dog, child, just like you've done in the past. So I'll do so slowly, but if you're familiar and you want to go ahead, please do. So from here, my movement starts in my hips. Exhale to cat, head down, back up, neck down. Inhale, tail up, back down, head up. Exhale to neutral and then take a breath to exhale to one side as if I'm wrapping my body around a pole. Inhale, center, exhale, side. We'll work with one more set of 4 cats before we come into our first dog. So the movement always starts in my hips and I move with my breath. Beautiful, everyone. All right, so we're going to come to downward dog. So from table pose, again, I want to make sure I roll my shoulders down my back. I've placed the weight into all my fingertips, my thumb mound, not just my wrist, but also my wrists. I'm letting my elbows face forward and my elbows are not locked. From here, I'm going to exhale my belly back, curl my toes, and float up using my core. And in my first dog of the day, it might be nice to bike pedal my feet, move my hips, shake my head, move my shoulders. Just have fun with your first dog. Let it be a dynamic dog, a moving dog. And then eventually rest into whatever dog pose is for you today. Maybe you're super bent because your hamstrings are tight. Maybe you're super flexible and your feet are on the mat. Whatever works for your body. Let your head go, shoulders go. There's your breath. Belly in. In your time, eventually slowly release back down to the mat. And come into child's pose. So toes come together, knees come apart. If the mat does not come to your forehead, bring your forehead to the mat by making it taller using your fists or a prop or your hands. So maybe a block, a blanket, a pillow. And again, my bum doesn't come to my feet, but if you can, that's where you should try to be. From here, we're going to do a little bit of core work. Now, if your wrists are tired or sore, you can always prop, so rolling your mat underneath. I'm probably going to work on my elbows for a little bit. So if you wish, you can be doing this in dolphin. So I like to do a couple of dog hovers. So what basically we're doing is we're curling our toes and then we're hovering in dog, almost dog, okay? So it's almost like I'm coming into dog, but not quite. So it's not quite a plank either. It's almost as if I'm prepping for dog, but I'm pausing there, okay? And then I can slowly lower down, come to child's pose, and then try again, okay? So I'm rolling my shoulder blades down my back, all my regular prep for dog, belly in, hover and dog. If hovering in dog does not work for you, if you're tired or sore, by all means, maybe just coming into downward dog, or if the wrists are, having a day, you can always come into dolphin as well. So with the elbows down and come into full dolphin instead of a hover. Listen to your body. Unfortunately, I can't hear what it's saying, so you gotta be the one to pay attention. So we'll do 2 more hovers, couple of breaths each. Rest and child's pose in between. When you're ready, coming up for the last hover, belly in, hovering. Slowly come down. Again, having a rest in child's pose. And then when you're ready, do a little bit more forward from here before we move to standing. So from here, I'm going to exhale my belly back and lift my left arm. And then maybe slowly release. My right arm. Slowly release. Right leg. And I'm trying to keep my hips level, and I don't need to lift it way up. I want to keep my hips facing the mat. And then switch. If this was difficult enough, stay with that. If you'd like, you can try left leg, right arm. Leave it there for a moment. Coming up on your exhale, keeping your belly in. So, and then switching arms and legs. If that's too easy, you can try doing a leg lift in dog. Okay. An arm lift in dog. And if you wish, one arm, one leg. Okay, so either working from table with one limb at a time, or working from dog with one limb at a time. Or you can work with opposite arm, opposite leg. I'll do 2 more on each side. Taking your time, being with your breath. Holding for a breath or 2. Last one on last side, so make sure you work evenly. And then from here, we'll rest in child's pose for a breath or 2. So toes together, knees apart, forehead to the mat, knee, bum to the knees. Take 3 nice long deep breaths here. When you're ready, you can come to standing however it's most comfortable for you. If you wish, you can come to downward dog, hop or walk your feet to your hands. And then come up to standing. Letting that go, shaking that out. When you're ready, come to Tadasana or mountain pose. With your hands in Namaste, if that works for you. Or if you're still having trouble rolling your shoulder blades down the back and resting the shoulders down, perhaps just let the arms be by your side. Closing your eyes for a moment. Notice if you've locked your knees. Still, there's your breath. Filling the belly as you breathe in. Your belly fall back as you exhale. If you're not in Namaste already, bring your hands into prayer position at the center of your chest. And with the eyes closed, feel the warmth of the palms as they press together. Feel the slight even pressure as the warm palms relax against one another in the center of your chest. And this may seem like a very simple movement and a very simple awareness to have. Perhaps if you're having a moment in your day that just feels like it's a little too big of a wave, a little too much, perhaps just taking a moment, whether seated or standing, placing your palms together at the center of your chest, closing your eyes, focusing on your breath as you feel and notice the warmth of your palms. Trying to have equal pressure between each palm as your hands press together in the center of your chest. Taking another moment here, just be aware of your breath, the warmth of your hands, the even and gentle pressure of the palms pressed together. Eventually open your eyes, let that go, maybe shaking out the fingers, shaking out the arms. And it might be nice, especially for the work that we've asked the hands to do, to just stretch them out a little bit. So taking your hand, bringing your palm as if you were saying stop, and just pressing with your other palm to bring the fingers a little bit back. Again, obviously we're just doing this as a gentle stretch. We're not pushing to the point of discomfort. And again, going the other way, pressing the top of the fingers towards the body, and then working on the other side. So again, I'm saying stop, and pressing my palms. And I flip my hand, and I press my fingers towards me, very gently. And the last one, flip palms, and stretch the fingers the same way, but upside down. So upside down stop. And just a gentle pressure of the fingers back. And switch. Still we're breathing. We've noticed if we've locked our knees. Eventually let that go and shake that out. So from here, I'd like to come to some standing poses with some twisting. So we're going to come to Namaste at the front of our mat. And we'll add our standing poses with twisting to a bit of a mini sun. If you're super tired today and you want to just take it easy, just come into the standing poses with us instead. Listen to your body. So from here, from Tadasana, if you can't do the whole thing, great. If you want to do it in your own time because you're a seasoned yogi, that's also an option.
So from here, I'm going to bend my knees, inhale all the way up, extended Tadasana, so that tiny back bend of my upper back over that pretend chair. And exhale and fold forward. Again, you might need your furniture or your blocks or your props, your books, whatever it is you're using. If you cannot come to a flat back and forward bend with the fingertips on the mat. Inhale to a halfway lift. Maybe you're on your thighs or using your blocks. Exhale to fold. From here, stepping your right foot back into lunge. We're going to come to, rather than coming right to lunge, we're actually going to come straight to warrior two. So the back heel stays on the mat, the front knee bends. I'm going to exhale, engage my belly, and come all the way up into warrior one. So in warrior one, my front hip is coming back, my back hip is coming a little bit forward, so my hips are square. If the shoulders are sore or tired, you can always be in cactus arms instead of having the arms up, especially if you tend to bring your shoulders to your ears. It might even be better for you to be in cactus arms. So listen to your body here, as usual. Should just play that on repeat. From here, we're going to actually take this to warrior two. Sorry, I'm just going to switch legs so you can see better. So we can lower the arms, open the back foot up a little bit so it looks more on an angle, because we're already opening the hips to get ready for that twist. Now this front knee is probably going to want to fall in. Let it stay facing forward. And this stance can be smaller. I don't want you to feel like you're wobbling all over. So have the stance be comfortable. From here, I'm already open. So I'm going to exhale my belly back and twist from my lower belly all the way up my spine to come into warrior two. And I can gaze over my front arm. Breathing here, try to let the weight be evenly distributed in your feet. Breathing. That front thigh might start to talk a little bit. If the knee talks, you should probably back off. If the shoulders talk, you don't need the arms. From here, we're going to reverse our palm and actually do an exalted warrior. So the back arm is going to come down, top arm is going to come up, and we're going to gaze at that top hand. Checking in with the knees, back knee is still slightly bent, front knee is still not falling inward. Okay, because that knee probably wants to fall in. It needs to stay facing forward. So check that out. I'm sure you all look beautiful in your exalted warriors. Breathing there. Eventually, slowly come back down to warrior two. And from here, we're going to extend. Now, if this side is talking too much, you can always take a break. We're going to come to extended side angle here. So extended side angle, all I did was reach my body forward a little bit, and I'm leaning on the front thigh, but I'm not putting all my weight onto it. I'm still engaged in my belly, and I'm still in my warrior two twist. From here, I'm going to bring my arms back down. I'm going to turn my back foot in. Now, options here, you can lower to the knee first. If you want, you can do a flow with me. If not, maybe rest in child's pose and then join us in dog. Otherwise, coming to plank. So plank is push-up position. You can always be on your knees for plank if you wish. Biggest important thing is to keep those shoulder blades rolled down your back. On an exhale, slowly lower down, elbows bend backwards to bring your forehead to the mat. Sliding the hands forward for an upward puppy. So very baby back bend for our first back bend, real back bend of the day. Bringing the hands back underneath the shoulders, curling the toes. Make sure those shoulder blades are rolling down your back to come back into downward dog. This is your rest pose. So if you're already in child's pose, you can stay there. If downward dog does not feel like a rest pose for you today, it may eventually. But please listen and check in and come into child's pose if you need. Take a couple of nice long breaths here.
Always an option to be on the elbows if needed. Everything the same if you're in dolphin as dog. The only difference is my elbows are on the mat instead of my palms. Option here to finish this side is to hop or step up to the top of your mat or come to the knees first. The right leg, which is what we stepped back the first time. So if you did the opposite, do the opposite now. Curling the back toes back into a lunge. And then left foot joins your right in forward bend. Again, if you need your blocks, using your blocks. Inhale up to halfway lift. Maybe that's on your thighs or your furniture. Exhale, fold. Again, maybe on your blocks. Bend your knees, engage your belly. Inhale all the way up. Extended Tadasana. Namaste. Let that go, shake that out. And we'll come to the other side. So just so that I'm open towards you, I'm gonna switch directions here. So again, wherever you're facing, bring your blocks. Oh, no worries. Thank you so much for letting me know. I hope you have a great day. Coming back to the top of your mat. Bring your blocks or your props with you if you need them. Okay, or your furniture that you need. Come back into Namaste in Tadasana, mountain pose. Take a moment to close your eyes, calm the breath. You can always sip water anytime you need. In your time, inhale all the way up to extended Tadasana. Exhale, fold forward into forward bend, wherever that is for you. Inhale up to a halfway lift. Exhale to fold. This time you're taking your left leg back and coming into warrior one. So again, feet forward, hips forward, front knee bent. Maybe you're in cactus arms. Breathing here. Watch that the front knee stays facing forward. I should still be able to see my toes. From there, I can drop the arms, open the back foot out a little bit more. Maybe give myself a longer stance as well. Front knee may want to fall in as soon as I've opened my hips because it's like, oh, I'm going this way. Nope. The knee faces forward, the hips stay open. Then we twist from our lower belly all the way up our spine to come into warrior two, gazing over your front hand. Breathing here. Try to let the weight be evenly distributed between both feet. Notice if that knee wants to fall in, because it probably does. Try to get it facing forward and keeping it there, because otherwise you're going to twerk the knee. That will be very uncomfortable for you. Back knee is slightly bent. From here, I'm going to turn my palm in the front to face the ceiling. From there, I'm going to drop my back arm, lift my top arm, my front arm, all the way up into exalted warrior. Beautiful exalted warriors. Breathing here. Still am in my twist. Eventually slowly come back into warrior two. And then from here, I'm going to reach forward and come to extended side angle. Gazing at that inner elbow if that works for you. Front knee is still bent. Tummy is still working. Breathing. Front thigh might start to talk a little bit, but that's okay. Eventually, I'm going to slowly come back down, twisting my leg back to face forward. From here, again, you have options. So if you wish, you can just come into all fours, come into table, and then rest in child's pose, okay, with the forehead on the mat, or you can come into plank. You can always drop to your knees if you wish, and you're exhaling to slowly lower down all the way to the mat, and then sliding the hands forward to a mini back mat. And then from there, sliding the hands back under the shoulders, rolling the shoulder blades down your back. Exhale your belly back to float back up into downward dog for your rest pose. So a couple of nice deep breaths here. If you're in child's pose and you'd like to join us in dog, feel free. If this is not feeling like a resting pose today, by all means, come into child's pose. So if you're coming into child's pose, toes together, knees apart. Stack hands or fists to bring the mat to your forehead, unless it reaches. From downward dog, you can hop or jump into standing forward bend, or this time we took our left leg back, so we're going to take our left foot forward into lunge. From lunge, stepping up, right foot to join the left to fold. Again, maybe you have your blocks, maybe you have your furniture. Inhale up to a halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Bend your knees, engage your belly, inhale all the way up. Extended Tadasana. Namaste. And let that go, shake that out. All right. When you're ready, we're going to grab one block. And we're going to try this in the room. And if you really struggle with this, you can always do it against the wall. You might want to do it against the wall, especially if your body's tired. It can sometimes just be nice to have that extra prop, that extra support. But just for fun, just to test our balance, we'll try half moon in the center of the room. So I'm going to face my block at the top of my mat. I just need one for now. Maybe I leave the other one at the other end so I can turn around if I want. And from Namaste into Tadasana, again, I might close my eyes for a moment. Focus on the warmth of the palms. Focus on the breath. Steady, slow breath. From here, eventually I'll release the palms and I'll step the left foot back. And I'm coming into almost like a warrior two, because I'm in an open hipped position already. My front knee is facing forward. My back foot is going to come up into a smaller stance. And I'm going to think about extended side angle and find my block, preferably in front of my foot. From here, still my shoulder blade rolls down my back. I'm going to pick a spot to stare at on the floor that doesn't move. From there, I'm going to exhale my belly back and bend my back leg. And then I'm going to straighten it. And that'll allow me to open my hips a little bit more. If that feels comfortable, I can straighten my top arm towards the ceiling. If you're already a bit wobbly here, you may want to stay with this. Otherwise, if you feel sturdy and you can keep breathing, keep that down knee soft, so not locked, you can try and change your gaze to your top hand, but that's usually where we lose it. Because it helps us to balance if we stare at one spot, but when we try to move our gaze, that can be challenging. So try to come down with grace. I didn't very much come down with grace. By lowering the arm, bending the knee, coming back into that extended side angle type pose, and then coming back up into Namaste, the center of our mat. And then we'll try the other side. So I already have a block there, so I'm good. So from here, I'm going to come into Namaste again. This time, I'm going to step my right foot back, left foot forward, coming into that warrior two type position. But I'm going to make that stance a little bit smaller. I'm just going to move back some. I'm going to come into extended side angle type pose. Find my block. From here, pick a spot to stare on the floor that doesn't move. Roll my shoulder blades down my back. Bend my back leg, lengthen it straight back so tummy's working. Top arm can come up to the ceiling. Chest is nice and open. Down knee is not locked. Still there's your breath. If you're feeling okay here, trying to take your gaze to your top palm. Or just continuing to face the mat. And then when it's enough, try to come out with grace. Coming back to Namaste. Tadasana in the center of your mat. Whew. Beautiful half moons. Excellent work, everyone. So from here, we're going to come to Tadasana and step one foot out at a time. Toes face forward and slightly in. Knees are bent, so they're not locked, they're soft. From here, you can come from Namaste, but it might be nice to grab our blocks. So if you need to come out of that to grab your blocks, please do. So stepping out wide, slightly pigeon toe your toes, so slightly turned in. Hands come to the hips, bend the knees. Inhale, all the way up. Exhale, engage the belly, float down to forward bend with a nice flat back. Your stance may be smaller. Listen to your body, be where it works for you. If the blocks are too high, you can always take them lower, your books or your bottle of cleaning products or whatever it is. Whatever you're doing though, you don't want your body hanging out in space. So I don't want to see someone like hanging out in space. I'd rather have your hands on your body or your prop or the floor. Just enjoying that nice gentle forward bend, wide stride. When it's enough, step your feet in, bend your knees, engage your belly, inhale all the way up. Extended Tadasana and Namaste. And shake that out and let that go. From here, we'll come to Dandasana or seated pose, staff pose. From staff pose or base seated pose, we're going to come into Baddha, sitting up nice and tall. And from here, we're just going to exhale our belly back and do a gentle open twist. Exhaling to come back to center when it's time. And then coming all the way back to the other side. Slowly coming back to center. Letting the legs go long, shaking them out. And coming towards the mat. Coming on the back again. Just to bring the knees to the chest, have a rock from side to side. Head, neck, shoulders, everything comes with you. And then if it's okay for your knees, stepping your feet with your knees bent a little bit closer to your buttocks. Not turning your head in this position, so if you need to take a look first, take a look first. And from here, just coming into pelvic lift. So we'll just do this very gently compared to last day. So exhale your belly back and float up towards the ceiling. Nice flat back, tummy in. Just a gentle pelvic lift, just to release any tension in the body and to come to a very gentle back bend. If you're a seasoned yogi and you want to come into full bridge or wheel or something like that, you could. But perhaps just take it a little bit easier. Let's stick with pelvic lift. Don't stay too long. When it's enough, curl down one vertebrae at a time. Let your tail be the last to come. Exhale your knees to your chest and just have one more gentle rock from side to side. Head, neck, shoulders, everything comes with you. And then move or stretch in any other way that you need before you lie back. So perhaps you really enjoyed the one knee to the chest at a time from the beginning that we did. Or maybe you'd prefer to do, a Saptabhatanasana or letting your knees fall out and your toes come together. Maybe you feel like you need to do a gentle twist. Whatever feels good for you, listen to your body. And then prepare for a Shavasana. So coming back into Shavasana, maybe with a prop under your knees, like a bolster or a blanket or a chair, or perhaps just letting your knees rest together. Maybe even, if it's comfortable, letting the legs go long, palms face up. Letting the shoulders ease. Or if you wish, you can sit with me. Coming onto your prop. Or sitting on the floor if that works better for you. Sitting up nice and tall in a comfortable seated position. Or staying on your back in Shavasana. Reconnecting with the breath. Maybe taking again a nice couple of inhales through the nose, filling the belly, and then sighing it out and letting everything go. Inhaling through the nose to expand every part of the body from the tips of the toes to the top of your head. And as you exhale, sigh it all out, let it all go. Maybe working with that one or two more times if that feels good for you. Otherwise, sticking with maybe a belly breath. Listening to your body. Allowing each part to ease a little bit more towards the mat with each breath out. Expanding any area of tension with each breath in. Exhaling it and letting it go. Mind wanders, invite it back to your breath. Offering yourself gratitude for your practice today. For giving yourself permission for this time. To rest and breathe after your hard work. And invite you to stay in Shavasana as long as it feels good for you. If you'd like, though, you can close your practice with us. In a moment, inviting a deeper breath. Beginning to wiggle your fingers and toes. Stretching and moving in any way that feels right for you before you roll to your right side for a breath or two. And then use your arms to bring you to a seated position.
Bringing your palms back into Namaste at the center of your chest. The soul or light or divine in me honors the soul or light or divine in me. Namaste. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed our practice. And I hope to see you next week. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to type in the chat. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.